And this one's actually, I think, a big one. I don't know exactly what Zizaran tackles on here, but I've heard people tell me, oh, this is the one where he talks about Rarity. I haven't seen it yet, and I want to talk about Rarity. I think Rarity is a big deal. I'm not a fan of Rarity. I never really liked Magic Find in Diablo, like I told you guys yesterday. It was something that I did. I had a sorceress chuck full of Magic Find that would just go and get items for the characters that I actually want to play, which is weird because I always just figured, wouldn't it just be more fun to just play the characters you actually want to play rather than make a character that you don't want to play in order to gear up the characters that you do want to play? I've never really liked that notion. And the another thing is, I feel like when it comes to stuff like this, in the case of Path of Exile 2, the stat is called Rarity. There are some classes that are inherently better at Magic Find than others. Like, for instance, ranged classes. Often sorceresses are some of the best characters for this because you can really scale up your spells and you can kind of like afford to lose a couple of stats here and there. I don't know if that's the case in PoE 2 or not, but I would imagine it probably is because that's usually the way that it goes. But regardless of that, usually your ranged characters are always going to be better at Magic Find because you can sacrifice defensive, some defensive stats in order to be able to get that magic find on your gear in order to be able to, go ham. Whereas if you play a melee character, you'll want as many defensive stats as possible to make sure that you're not going to get completely obliterated. So, yeah, we'll see. Man, some of us were so excited Magic Find might not be in PoE 2, and then they brought it back. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of Magic Find, but let's see what Zizaran has to say. Me doing Breach right now using my level 92 Sork with 205% Magic Find. I saw a podcast yesterday on a Zizaran podcast where he was talking to, I forget who it was. It was another player that apparently is really big on trading. And this other player was saying that the scaling of it, 200% feels more like the 100% bonus plus like a 30% bonus. So there's diminishing returns, but I don't know how high that actually goes in terms of diminishing returns. Yeah, Fubgun, that's who it was. So before we check out the video from Zizaran, I'm gonna link it to you guys in chat. Make sure to leave it a like, bro. I swear I was subscribed to Ziz. What the fuck? Anyway.
Hi, Zizaran here with another video about Path of Exile 2, and this is a bit of a ranty video about Rarity in Path of Exile. Is it in a good place? Should it be in the game? And how does Rarity work in PoE 2 currently?
And by the way, I don't think I can be... Wait, is my... No, my head's not on top of his, so we're good. And by the way, I don't think that you would ever be able to convince me... Let's actually switch presentation. I don't think you'd ever be able to convince me that Rarity is something that should be in the game. I was even considering when I was on the way to the studio today, is like, is there a place where I could accept Rarity being in the game? And one of the things that came to mind is like, maybe if it was limited to 1 or 2 armor pieces. Like, let's say you can only have Rarity on your rings. Then I'd be like, no, I can kind of, it's like, I don't want it still. But I can kind of tolerate it if you limit where it can show up. So it's like it can't show up everywhere. It can show up on 1 or 2 pieces of gear, and that's that. Then I'd be like, I can kind of accept it if you put it like that. I still won't like it. I'll never like it. But if it's like on only some specific pieces of gear, I feel like I can tolerate it because obviously a lot of people in the community want it. And by the way, I'm not saying this as in, oh, you should definitely listen to me. I know best. I don't know what's best. I'm the PoE tourist, okay? I'm the tourist. I'm new here, okay? I know that a lot of people have been here for friggin' years, and that's all good. That ain't me.
Currently, to do a big update because we have a lot of new players that aren't familiar with PoE. PoE 1, we also had item rarity, but we also had item quantity. And in Path of Exile 1, item rarity would affect the rarity of gear, so whether an item would be blue, yellow, or brown unique. So that was all rarity did. And we would have quantity, which just increased the amount of stuff you got, which also affected currency. Now, quantity, because it affected currency, was such a problem.
That's the other thing. I've heard people say that rarity affects currency, and I think that makes it even worse because it's going to completely tank the economy. Although, as somebody who's going to be playing solo self-found most likely moving forward, I don't think I need to care about that. So
Problem in PoE 1 that they removed it entirely from the game. Completely gone. That makes it a little bit surprising to me how rarity works in Path of Exile 2. The problem of why, by the way, quantity was removed in PoE 1 was that a large amount of players started feeling like it was almost, you were almost forced to wear it. You were almost forced to wear it. So yeah, a little bit unfortunate, and I think
which that's also kind of the way that it feels right now, right? If you're not using rarity, you're not really getting currency, and therefore, you're kind of screwing yourself over.
think for me, I was always a big rarity enjoyer in Diablo 2, and the point for me where I started disliking rarity was when Bisco's collar came out, and that was a item that just gave such a big impact of the rarity. It had like 100% quantity increase of white monsters killed, and it was like night and day. It basically doubled or tripled your drops, so it felt almost mandatory to wear, and that ended up changing most people's build design for the entire league. It would just be like, well, if the character needs a unique necklace, it's a bad build because it can't wear Bisco's collar. And that was not good. So that brings me to Path of Exile 2. How does rarity work and what does it do? So if we see here, items can be normal, magic, rare, or unique, and item classes which do not have rarity, such as currencies, have an individual rarity for each item. So in PoE 2, if you're wearing rarity, that means a transmute is more likely to be an AUG might be more likely to be like a Valorb or an Alchemy, etc. And I had been running with zero.
So it's like, so if that's the way that it works, considering that I believe what one of the most valuable things is the Divine Orb, people always talk about the Divine Orb. I've never even seen a Divine Orb, but that's what I always hear. It's like, oh, this number of Divines, this is the best thing. Like, Divine is like the highest tier of currency, it feels like. If rarity affects your chances of getting a Divine Orb, that's bad. That's just straight up bad. I don't really see a way in which you can justify it. Like, no, because like, obviously you want the best form of currency. Obviously, of course you do. You need it. You need the currency. So therefore, rarity is pretty much mandatory. Even if you don't have it on your one main character, which this goes back to the idea that I was talking about in Diablo 2, where I had the sorceress, where I did all of this magic finding shenanigans, because it was straight up the best, at least back in the day when I was playing, which was a very, very long time ago in Diablo 2. We're not talking about Diablo 2 Resurrected. We're talking about OG Diablo 2. And the sorceress was by far the best one because of the static skill that would reduce a boss's health by 30%. So you could basically just go up to the boss, spam that thing until the boss would be all the way down to like, I don't know, 20% health or something. And then you would like use another basic spell and kill the boss. So Sorceress was the best. You'd get like a bunch of cast speed with magic find, just going there, boss no health, and then just like, pop, get him dead. Easy money. Easy friggin' money. So,
Zero rarity until maybe 10 hours of gameplay ago. And then I got this amulet, and oh my god.
The amulet comes with, that's 66, 74. 74% increased rarity.
The difference is insane. And obviously, I'd seen other players that have been playing solo self-found for roughly the same amount of time, roughly the same amount of kills, would have maybe like 20 to 50 divines kind of thing. Like, it is actually that big of a difference. So if you're like, how are people getting hundreds of like exalts and hundreds of divines? Rarity is a huge part of that. Some people are running up to like 500%
That sucks.
rarity, and they're actually hiding a lot of rares on their filter. Until I started wearing rarity, I was like, hiding rare seemed preposterous to me. And I was running out of alchemies. I was down to like 3 alchemies at one point, while pretty much only alchemying Item level 81 rattling scepters and rings and amulets. That was the only things I was alcheming. Those are pretty far and few between. I'm running out of alchemies. Now that I have, I think it's 76 rarity. Where do we see? On Pilovex.
74.
74. I have 74 rarity, and I just got 3 alchemies in one map and 4 exiles. And this is now pretty commonplace. I'm a little unsure of my own experience with Divine Orb drop rates, but in the first map after putting on Rarity, I did get a Divine Orb, but Divine Orbs are pretty rare, so I, for my own experience, would want a bigger sample size, but we do know that it does affect the drop rate. To give you an idea of how good Rarity is, chat, this is Scry's loot from one map. That's 130 Rarity map with 165% Rarity on the character. 6 Divine Orbs, 20 Regals, 34 Exalted Orbs, 107 Splinters. That's one.
Bro, how is he getting all of these goddamn waystones, bro? I need to put Rarity on my next character, dude. Yep, that's it. We're building Rarity. That's what we're doing. 100% Rarity all day, every day. Rarity on every piece of gear. That's what we're running. It's going to be a suicide hardcore warrior with, what's your spec? Rarity. My spec is Rarity.
One map. Did you have 10 breaches? 3 breaches. Wow, not even 10. Imagine if you had 10 in that map. And I don't think it affects things like this. I actually had 5 perfect jeweler orbs just farming local knowledge. So, you know, I didn't have a problem with those. But a lot of my currencies, I had for a very long time, I had 0 divine orbs, 0 elements. And I remember when I found my first divine orb, people were like, you just found your first one now? Are you not wearing Rarity? And I'm like, no, I couldn't fit any. So I actually took a bit of a damage loss, put on this like Giga Rarity amulet, because this is 70 plus from 1 item. So that seemed very worth it, right? 74 Rarity from 1 item. Doesn't have any other good stats, so if I found a backup one, I would Chaos Orb this to try to make it really good. Maybe get some Energy Shield. Should Rarity be this strong, and should it affect currency? I think the answer to both is no.
No.
I'm not entirely against Rarity as a stat that makes you find more unique
I
items
am.
or more rare items. I think when at the point that you feel stupid for not playing without it, when it's literally like a 5 to 10x different experience than not having it, that's definitely too far. And even like blasters like Fubgun is saying like it's definitely overtuned. On top of that as well, it seems like the diminishing returns is like nowhere near where it should be. In my old age, I think I'm fundamentally against Rarity in an ARPG.
Yes.
I think it ends up taking a lot away from it.
Like, I don't think you can make the case for Rarity. That's the point. I just don't think you can make the case for Rarity. Because you're going to start saying, well, it's cool because then you choose between, you know, it's a risk-reward type situation. It's like, no, you know exactly what you're going to do. What you're going to do is you're going to get one character that's going to be, I'm trying to think of a nice way to say it without going into cuss words because I want to make this into a YouTube video. But you're going to make a character that's essentially a prostitute for the rest of your characters, okay? And the prostitute is going to be chock full of Rarity. That's what you want to do. You're going to have the one prostitute character that's chock full of Rarity that's going to be getting loot for all your other characters. And then whenever you're playing the other characters, you're leveling them up and you're having fun and all of that. But whenever you need loot, you're going to go get the prostitute again. That's what you're going to do. And I don't like that. I don't think that's good. I don't. Sorry. It is what it is.
Because you're looking for Rarity instead of power stats for your character. However, the fact that it is mostly on rare items, there's very few uniques. I guess you have Wonder Trap. Very, very few uniques are noteworthy or have Rarity on them. And I think that's okay. Because at least you're looking for interesting gear. But so like it's not like I'm gonna rage out if Rarity stays, but it definitely needs a significant nerf. So I'm not a huge fan of feeling forced to give up power, which I am now doing, to get Rarity. And now it is such an impactful change. Like I am dropping between 3 and 5 times more than I would. And Rarity should not, in my opinion, be the most sought after stat on gear. Now obviously very unlikely to get a patch until January, but yeah, I just wanted to throw my 2 cents in there. I would love to know, especially from other people in the community on softcore and stuff, do you like that Rarity is this powerful, that you literally get 5 to 10, maybe
Nope.
more times the drop
Hate
rate
it.
of currency, of good currency?
Big
Um,
hate.
it's pretty crazy to me. I definitely didn't think it would be this imbalanced. If all they said tomorrow is we are removing all sources of rarity from the game, I'd be like, that's great. I'm way more in favor of that than anything else.
Hell yeah.
That's my 2 cents. I just, yeah, very curious what people think. But even if all they do is make it unaffect currency, which crazy, crazy to me that after quant being removed in PoE 1, they make it affect currency in PoE 2. That's wild. That's wild to me. I have no words. Crazy, 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 crazy.
Yep.
But yeah.
Big agree.
That's my little rant. But I'm just a dude, and that's just my opinion.
Dude,
So
he's so sleepy from all the, because he's been doing a marathon nonstop since the game came out. I think he's still going. Like, let me see, because like he swaps in with his wife from time to time. I think he's had his dad on there as well. But like, dude, Zizaran has been like, look at this. He's still going. He still has 210 hours to go on his subathon. So like he's been streaming nonstop since the game came out. That is crazy. But yeah.
let me know what you think. Interested to hear what people in YouTube comments want to say. Either way, thanks for watching. So if you liked the video, but more importantly, try to die less than I do.
Okay, guys, make sure to go in there, leave Zizaran a like. He's doing fantastic content. So yeah, really, really good.